It happens every February in the United States, every 4 years in the world of soccer, and every weekend in living rooms across the globe. Millions of people are screaming at their televisions, emotionally destroyed because 11 strangers on a field lost a game. And yet, there is a significant group of people who just don't care. To the sports fanatic, this indifference is baffling. They call it boring. They assume you lack passion, or that you just haven't found the right team yet. But according to Neuroscience, your lack of interest in the Super Bowl or the World Cup isn't a personality flaw. In fact, it might be a sign that your brain is wired to seek meaning, connection, and dopamine in a fundamentally different way. Today, we're decoding the silent psychology of the non-sports fan. Why your boredom actually reveals something fascinating about your cognitive architecture. Humans are, at their core, tribal creatures. For thousands of years, being part of a group meant survival. Your tribe protected you, and their victories were literally your victories. Psychologists call this social identity theory. For many, a sports team is a modern tribe. When their team wins, their brain releases oxytocin, the same bonding hormone that makes you love your family. Their brain literally tricks them into thinking these millionaire athletes are part of their direct clan. But for the non-sports fan, this tribal switch functions differently. Research suggests that some individuals have a lower collective identity drive. They are more individualistic. They don't seek self-worth through the achievements of strangers. If you've ever felt left out during a sports conversation, it's not because you aren't social, it's because your brain refuses to outsource its happiness to a group of people you've never met. Why is watching sports so addictive? It's because of intermittent reinforcement. This is the same psychological mechanism that makes slot machines and social media scrolling so hard to quit. You don't know if your team will win. That unpredictability keeps the dopamine flowing. Every near miss and clutch play provides a microdose of anticipation. However, studies in neurobiology suggest that dopamine receptor sensitivity varies from person to person. For a sports fan, the uncertainty of a game is a high. For a non-fan, that same uncertainty feels like a waste of mental energy. You aren't boring. You simply have a high dopamine threshold for vicarious competition. Your brain might require active participation rather than passive observation to feel a reward. There is a fascinating behavioral pattern in sports psychology known as burgeoning basking in reflected glory. When a team wins, fans use the pronoun we. We won the championship. Conversely, when they lose, they perform what's called Corfin cutting off reflected failure. Suddenly, the pronoun changes. They played terribly. This psychological distancing protects the fans' self. But here's the thing about non-sports fans. They are often more cognitively consistent. They don't feel the need to tether their ego to an external outcome they can't control. This suggests a level of internalized self. You don't need a jersey or a trophy to feel like a winner, because your identity isn't a reflected one, it's an original one. One of the most common myths is that non-sports fans lack empathy. In reality, it's about empathy allocation. Everyone has a finite amount of emotional energy. Sports fans practice caring deeply about the struggles of strangers in jerseys. Non-sports fans often direct that same intense empathy toward different domains, creative projects, intellectual challenges, or direct social activism. A 2021 study found that people with low sports interests often score higher in openness to experience. They are seeking the high of meaning and transcendence, but they find it in a novel, a scientific discovery, or a complex relationship. You are seeking the same reward, connection, and meaning. You're just finding it in a different arena. The next time someone asks you, "Did you see the game?" and you have to admit, you didn't even know there was a game, don't feel awkward. You aren't missing out on a fundamental human experience. You are simply navigating the human experience with a different map. You are the proof that the mind doesn't need a scoreboard to find purpose. You are playing a different game, one where the stakes are internal. The rules are yours to write, and the victories are deeply personal. In a world that screams for you to join the crowd, there is a quiet power in standing apart. If you enjoyed this deep dive, let us know in the comments. What is your arena? Where does your passion go if it doesn't go to sports? And to keep decoding the secrets of the human mind, subscribe to Psychology, Decoded, Mind Mastered, Life Decoded. We'll see you in the next one.